Hello everybody, Flamin' Shark back with another video, and today we are starting a new series. This will be the first of two new series starting this week, but the only one that's a reaction series. Of course, we have a Let's Play starting a couple days after this video, but we are beginning Violet Evergarden. This was the runner-up on a poll I did a while back on the Patreon. I did a poll that was basically what would be the final two break shows in my Monogatari slot. Madoka Magica won, and that was the previous break show in between Monogatari, and here we are at the final break show with the runner-up to that poll, which was Violet Evergarden. Of course, after Violet Evergarden, we're going to be doing Owari Monogatari, which is the last of the... I will be doing the remainder of Monogatari that I have left that's currently out. So we will be all done with Monogatari after we the next batch, which will be coming in slot 1 after Violet Evergarden. And then after that, we will start a new series that will be something else. Just leaving it at that. Violet Evergarden's an interesting one because years ago when this came out, I actually almost watched this as it came out, believe it or not. I know it had hype to it. I believe they pre-released episode 1. I want to say it was because it looked visually so beautiful. From what I remember, the reason why it got so much hype was visual sauce. So I'm expecting this show to look fucking beautiful, because that's what I feel like I remember. But I remember the hype, and I remember I almost reacted to this when it came out, and it's a show that's always been on my list ever since, because I obviously didn't react to it, and this is... Oh, it's so annoying. And I decided to react to it now, because it was the runner-up on a poll where I was going to do the top 2. And here we are, all these years later. But we're getting around to it, which is awesome. I don't know what to expect. The name doesn't really give me a lot. I mean, obviously, there's multiple references to, flowers, because, Violet is, that, but also Evergarden. That entire name is very... I mean, are we referring to some special type of garden that, lasts forever? Has a bunch of violets? Or is it a more likely it's a more symbolic thing? I don't know anything about this show. I don't even know the genre. I mean, to be fair, most of the series I go into, I'm I'm pretty fucking blind. I feel like I'm more blind than usual. The one thing I vaguely remember is that I believe this show looks really fucking good. So I'm looking forward to that. I have no idea who did this series. No idea what studio did this series. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are excited for it. This is probably going to be in the review format with the reaction down below in the description, but maybe it'll be on YouTube. I actually don't know. But most likely it's not, but maybe it will be. Maybe the first one will be, and then I'll have issues, and then I'll post the rest on YouTube. I mean, the rest not on YouTube. You guys know what I'm saying. I don't know. Probably not on YouTube. But maybe. Who knows? I don't think I have much else to say. I just recorded JoJo's, the 5-episode JoJo set that'll be going up the day before this, so I actually have to... I was on my JoJo notes, so I actually have to go up to a new page. Yeah, I'm gonna go here. I'm just writing my notes. Okay. I have a new page on my notes for Violet Evergarden. I'm ready to learn about some characters, and I'm getting deep enough into my notebook now that pages are trying to fucking do that bullshit. Okay. Just don't, please. But I'm really excited. I'm very curious to see what this show's about. I know a lot of people really love this show, so obviously it did well on the poll. Madoka Magica won the poll, and that's become probably my favorite one-core anime of all time. And this is going to be another one core anime. I'll be curious to see if it can maybe rival Madoka for my favorite series. And even if not, I'm sure I'll enjoy it quite a bit. Don't know what to expect. Don't know what I'm getting myself into. It's always fun when we start a new series here on the channel. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning before anyone asks, for those who don't know, I will be doing the OVA after episode 4, I believe. It's not going to be like at the end. And we do have like multiple specials, movies, whatever the hell. So we have like a bunch of stuff that we're going to react to. So this will actually be a little bit of a you know, I mean, hopefully it won't be too long because I'll be super consistent. But as far as sets go, this will be a bit of a longer interlude between Monogatari parts. Hopefully it'll actually be shorter than most of them because I'm being consistent, hopefully. But whatever the case may be, it is time for us to jump into the first episode of Violet Evergarden in 5, 4, 3, a 2, a 1. Play. Huh. ED? No, just nothing. Oh my god, okay. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. I can vibe with this. I can work with this. Interesting. That was interesting. I'd had my attention for sure. That was the first episode of Violet Evergarden. So it's this kind of show. Okay. Well, now I know what the genre is. Actually, actually, the more I think about it, I don't know if I necessarily know what the genre is, but I know the vibes we're going for. I actually don't, off the top of my head, know what genre this would even be considered, but a war dog who lost her master, essentially, and her master fell in love with her, and now there's no war to fight, and she's trying to find the meaning of the words "I love you." Very poetic, very, like I said, if I had to, because I'm thinking, you know, I've reacted to at this point over 60 series, at least started. I mean, most of those I've watched a good amount of. If there was a series that I feel like will be the closest to the vibe of Violet Evergarden of the things I've reacted to on this channel, the show that jumps to mind is Your Lie in April. That is the show that this gave me the most vibes of, and I could definitely see similar kind of vibes and themes. Not necessarily saying, I mean, obviously the show is very different. Your Lie in April, of course, about music and stuff, but I definitely could see some similarities from that. And that's the best pull that I feel like I can think of off the top of my head of like the different anime that I've watched on the channel. It was a very compelling first episode. Violet makes a very strong impression as a character that definitely has, just, you know, I'm trying not to say it in like a rude way, but she definitely has there's definitely mental stuff going on with Violet, and it's very interesting to see. It's always very interesting when characters are, you know, portrayed with various, you know, like mental issues and stuff, how they're portrayed in fiction. That's always a very interesting topic. It's very hard to do, and to have a whole story based around that's very interesting, because like, you know, it's like fucking how like Evangelion, like half the fucking Evangelion characters have, you know, I mean, arguably have autism and stuff, and that's not even a meme. I'm being dead serious, and the Violet gave me those vibes. I really like her. She gives off a very, it's just the earnest nature of her, despite the fact that she's kind of always existed for someone else, Major Gilbert. There's an earnest nature about the way she acts. very subservient in many ways, but there is a true, like I said, it's very notable. That was the hook of the episode near the end, was she wanted to learn what I love you means, and she saw the auto memoir doll girl being like, she knew, so she wanted to learn how to know, how to find that, and she felt working as an auto memoir doll would be her way to learn. So it's going to be really interesting, because now we're setting up a story where she's going to ghostwrite for people and try and learn the meaning of I love you. It's very romantic in a tragic way, and I feel like that's what this series is going for, vibe-wise, romantically tragic. And I'm expecting, and I'm not even saying, like, because that's the thing, right? Like, the man who loved her is, let's be real, he's fucking dead. So it's like she's not going to be able to, she's going to, I imagine by the end, learn of his love and understand it truly, but then it's like, what then? And the best case scenario for this show would be that over the course of learning what I love you means, she learns how to love herself. That would be the happy iteration, because if I had to guess, based on what we've seen, based on the themes that were proposed in the first episode, this is a story about learning how to love yourself, which again is very, very much in the vein of something like Evangelion. So thematically, there's like I said, vibe-wise, reminded me of Your Lie in April. Some of the kind of deeper themes that I'm picking up from this first episode, a bit reminiscent of Evangelion. It's really good vibes, though. I think the character design is beautiful. Violet, of course, but honestly, all the girls and the guys and everyone looked fucking great. I don't know, the direction was interesting, because they were really playing in on that blur effect on the background, which I actually think made things look a little less clean, but it seemed like they toned that down later in the episode, so I don't know what to think of that. Obviously, so I believe, if I remember correctly, this episode was like shown in advance, which might also have to do with why there was no OP or ED in this episode. I'm expecting to get both in the next episode, which should be awesome. I'm very excited. I feel like this show will have a very good OP. I could see a lot of piano in the OP, possibly some violin action. I could see maybe like a classic guitar, kind of soft guitar. There's a lot of vibes. You kind of get what I'm thinking, though, musically. I even have like a kind of vision in my head of what the OP might sound like. And I'm sure it'll look beautiful as well. And the ED will be interesting as well, so I'm excited for that. There's a lot to take from this first episode of Violet Evergarden. And I'm very curious to see Violet's journey and what conclusion she comes to over the course of this show. It's going to be very interesting, and I think it'll be very... Characters like Violet really intrigue me. I like... because like that's the thing. I wouldn't describe, from what I've seen, Violet as necessarily a broken character. It's more that it's a character that it's not even broken. Like I said, in her mind, she's a tool. So it's like she thinks of herself as something subhuman. And over the course of this show, hopefully, again, assuming things go well, because things can get really fucking dark and tragic with this series, but then again, there is like a movie and like another movie, an OVA. It's all fucked. There's so much shit. But the OVA, I think I'm watching the OVA where it technically takes place in the story. So I guess the OVA doesn't actually give me any hints, but as to where this is going. But there's fucking like weird. There's a bunch of fucking supplemental material for Violet Evergarden that I plan to react to as well. But it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes, because it's such a again, romantically tragic setup. That is, if I had to use two words to describe the vibe of the first episode of Violet Evergarden, it was romantically tragic. And I think that vibe is going to maintain with us throughout the series. And as she learns to love herself, hopefully, she will learn to love through tragedy, in a sense. And it's going to be fucked up and sad. That's kind of my prediction on where this is going. It doesn't feel that hard to predict, but I'm very curious to see the actual mechanisms of how we get there and how it's actually portrayed, because this series certainly, it doesn't feel like the type of series that's trying to hide where it's going, and it's more about the journey that you take to get to where we're going than the actual destination itself. And I'm all down for that. And it's nice to watch a show like this because, again, one episode in, this feels different from most of the stuff I've reacted to. And like I said, I kind of, especially in the anime sphere specifically, I want to touch in on like every different type of anime that, exists out there, like all the different vibes and styles and just cool shit. And this is something that I feel like I haven't really explored series like this very much, which has me pretty excited to see where Violet Evergarden goes. And I get the feeling I'm going to be pretty interested throughout. So that was a cool first episode. We still got a lot of fun stuff to go. We got 2 more episodes left in this set because we are doing 1 to 3 in this opening video. And my camera, okay, stop being blurry, thank you. And I'm excited to see where this goes from here. So I think I'm just going to jump in to episode 2 of Violet Evergarden. And it just cuts out there. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any... It doesn't look like this show has any form of, like, preview, next time, any of that. It doesn't look like there's anything like that in the show, which is nice. That's cool. It just means I get to watch the episode from 0 to wherever it ends, which is better off for me, I suppose. This is still bothering me. I'm going to see if I can, like, try and wash just dump some water on it. It's not like a spot even. It's really weird. And it comes out, it shows more on the camera than it actually does in real life. It's really weird. But yeah, that was episode 2 of Violet Evergarden. Definitely, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious. Like, the first episode gave you a good read on this show, and I think the second episode solidified most of my thoughts on what the show is going to be. Violet, it's so... I've seen characters like her before, but it's so... The portrayal of these type of characters who don't understand cues, who don't understand like social and emotional cues, it's always so interesting. And Violet is deeply imbued with a horrible upbringing, clearly, and is deeply scarred in many levels, but it's not even, like, I don't even feel like that's the right way to describe what I'm trying to say. Like, she has this disconnect, but she still exists emotionally. She isn't just a tool. There is an emotional resonance that she had with Major Gilbert, and that emotional relevance is, not relevance, but that emotional resonance is driving her to make actions and choices on herself, because everything else is just, she's like a doll, and that's the irony here. That's the irony of this story, right? Is that she is essentially a doll, but she does have emotions that come out as relates to Gilbert. That's why she's so enthralled with the idea of learning what I love you truly means, because she cannot define this. She can't define this emotion, and that's what she's on a journey to discover in Violet Evergarden. It sounds weird because it's another case where I'm never a fan of when the show is named after the main character. I think it's cool in this case because it's such a cool fucking name that it almost would be a waste not to call the show that. But it's funny because given the nature of the name, I didn't even put together, even though I already fucking knew. I already fucking knew her name was Violet Evergarden, and I forgot, which still annoys me because I try to, say everything I know about the show before we start, and I did fucking know that her name was Violet, and I just forgot. But that's, annoying. That annoys me. Regardless, she is a very interesting character, and this portrayal of her, I think, is really... I mean, it's on the nose, for sure, and it's a thing that's, it's an interesting thing, because I could see a lot of people falling in love with this character, especially anime fans. No offense to anime fans, but I feel like there's a lot of people, not necessarily, I'm not even saying that most of these people have like the same issues that she does, but I think people can relate to her struggles. And you know, it's kind of that sense of almost feeling, not feeling like everyone else, not feeling like a regular member of society, however you want to portray it. I feel like there's a lot of relatable elements to that. I think for a lot of people, even people that might necessarily be quote-unquote normal people in many senses, there's so many variations of being different, right? We're all different in one way or another. Everything that we are makes us unique, of course, as each individual person is different from the next. But beyond that, there's all these different elements of us that are different from other people, because in the end, we all have weird quirks and weird, you know, whether it be, you know, issues or just the way we are in different ways just makes us different. And sometimes those differences make us feel alienated from other people for one reason or another, because it's something that is not shared by other people or not shared by a lot of people you know, or whatever the case may be. And that's a very relatable theme that is at the core of Violet Evergarden, both the show and the character. And it's compelling, and I love how, you know, Erica was in many ways touched and was able to remember what she loves because of Violet. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme in this show, is Violet, despite all of her limitations, is going to help everyone else around her remember or feel a love, and that love that they feel hopefully will translate to a love that Violet gets to feel at some point, or at least understand, because it's clear that she feels a love for Major Gilbert, which makes it all the more tragic because we know that he's no longer with us, and she might just shut down completely when she finds out that he's gone. And it's just it's such a tragic thing that's looming on the horizon, and every time Hodgins pushes it back, you're just like, bro, she's gonna find out eventually. Fuck, bro, holy shit. And it makes you grit your teeth, and you're just like, fuck. And that's just another thing that I think has been great so far. So it's interesting, because this is a show that I would say, you know, I like to say, I think I do say at the beginning of my videos, like another blind commentary, blind reaction. I always say that. And even though my titles will always be blind reaction, part of the reason I say blind commentary, blind reaction is because sometimes there's not necessarily a ton to react to. And I think this is a show where it's more perhaps a blind commentary than a blind reaction, because I feel like I have a lot to say, not necessarily a ton to perhaps react to. So it's a different type of commentary. You know, it all kind of falls into the same niche. It's essentially the same videos as all the other stuff. But there's some series where there's a lot of commentary, some where it's more reacting, some where it's kind of both. It kind of just depends on the nature of the series and my thoughts on that type of series and how I feel about it. This feels like a series that's definitely lending itself more to being a commentary. My videos potentially being more of a commentary on what's going on than a reaction, even though of course I always do both in all my videos. Some have more commentary than others, some have more reactions than others. It kind of just, again, depends on the nature of the series. This definitely feels like a series that's going to be a lot more about me talking about my thoughts on things as opposed to necessarily reacting, even though I'm sure there's going to be crazy shit that happens, but it's going to be in a different sense than in some other series. I'm really enjoying it so far. This is really interesting, and I like the kind of simplistic nature of it behind a really fucked up backstory that kind of it kind of grounds the story a bit, because it is such a simplistic, like what she's actually doing in the present, but then you have all this fucked up past stuff with the war and her, you know, being used as a tool, being used as a weapon, and all of this that's built into her psyche and her character and the core being of who Violet is. And it just kind of works, and like that kind of juxtaposition really, I think, helps the series. And obviously, like I said, it's a treat to listen to, it's a treat to watch. The character designs are mwah, and the actual sound design is fantastic. The music is incredible. It's like The technical aspects are really good. Again, I'm not like blown away by the direction so far, but there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just not like I haven't been thinking, holy shit, this director's insane. But it's not like bad by any stretch either. It looks good in every sense, and it sounds good in every sense, and that always is a big help to a series. So like that just adds to the atmosphere and the vibes. So yeah, that was a really good episode. I really enjoyed episode 2, and I'm excited to check out episode 3 of Violet Evergarden, our last episode and of our first reaction to this series. There's going to be a fair amount, actually. There's only 13 main episodes. There's also an OVA, and there's some like movie shit. So there's actually a fair amount, and these sets are going trend on the short side. So there's actually going to be some pretty short videos. So which I guess might work out, because I feel like this is a series that's definitely a more densely discussion-based series for me. I feel like I have a lot to say so far. And I always have a lot to say about the first episode of any series. That's natural. But I feel like from the second episode, I feel like I've had a lot to say about this one as well. And that's probably a sign that I'm probably going to have a lot to say about most of the episodes. So it probably works out. Anyways, let's check out episode 3 of Violet Evergarden. That's beautiful. That was a pretty good first impression. That was good. And I'm pretty hot. I'm gonna start blasting this fan in a few minutes once I'm done with this video. Whew! That was episode 3 of Violet Evergarden, and that was, in general, the first 3 episodes of Violet Evergarden. That was really good. That was a very beautiful way to end the set. A very touching episode, a very compelling story. I mean, it really is. It's very interesting to learn about what these girls kind of see and what they've gone through, and like that whole, like just the whole vibe of it is like really interesting. And I really like how I really like Violet's portrayal. It feels real, and I feel like the way that despite that she's still able to impact the lives of those around her, I think is really beautiful. And it's just, I mean, it shows the meaning of her existence, and it shows that she's so much more than what she, in many ways, sees herself as. And that's like a really, again, it's very beautiful. It's very romantic. Again, the word romantic, I feel like, is very fitting for this show. And I think, as a bit of a romanticist myself, I do appreciate it, because it's an element of writing that I always enjoy stories that have that kind of element of romanticism. And I think this series definitely, like, romance and tragedy are like they're the two things that I think are really strong here. And I feel like we've leaned more into the romantic element than the tragic element, but they're definitely both very much present here in this story. And it's really beautiful to see how she was able to, help Lucilia. And I really, that was really nice. And that kind of gives us more of a structure for what a lot of these episodes could potentially be about. Just the way that Violet's able to help other people through her, her auto-memoir doll stuff, her ghostwriting. And that's something that I think is really good stuff. And it's something that resonates. Like I said, it's beautiful. It really is. She's grown as a character in these first 3 episodes. She's still very much the same person, but she's managed to at least to some degree figure out some degree of emotional understanding of what Lucilia was trying to say, and the more she's able to grasp that, I think the more she'll be able to understand her own feelings and emotions, and the fact that she really isn't a doll. Even if she might be doll-like at times, she is so much more than just a tool. And the more she can learn that, hopefully, the better off she will be. In helping others, she'll learn how to, if for lack of a better term, help herself. And I think that's, again, it's that very like romantic and real idea of learning to love yourself. It's one of the most important themes that any story can tell, and it's such a poignant theme. It's something that's so, it resonates with all of us, because it's something that I think, and maybe there are people who don't relate, but I think it's something that every last one of you on this planet, every last one of you watching this, at some point or another probably struggles with loving yourself. And certainly I can be one to certainly admit that there's been times where I've struggled to love myself. And I think it's such an important thing, because you can't truly love others without loving yourself. And I think that's something that's very hard to not materialize. It's hard to grasp. I guess materialize would have worked, but it's hard to grasp that idea of loving yourself, and how without being able to love yourself, you can't truly love those around you that you care about the most. That doesn't mean you don't care about them, but I think true love, and I don't mean that in a romantic, like in an intimate, like a romantic. I mean, I guess I do mean a romantic sense. You know what I mean? I don't mean in like a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, that type of sense. But I just mean true love is something that truly exists when you can love yourself, because you have to love yourself to truly love someone else. And I'm struggling to explain what I mean by that, and I'm kind of butchering my own point, but there is a level of that. And I think Violet, her love for Major Gilbert, I think is proof that deep down there is a part of her that can love. And I think it'll be proof that in of itself is the proof that she can learn to love herself. And hopefully things go in that direction. I'm a little scared based on the way that episode 3 ended, and the way that Lucilia was kind of talking about, you were talking about memoirs, it kind of gave me, in memoriam, that kind of vibe, the way she was talking, as if like at a funeral for Violet or something, they were talking about her. It felt that gave off that kind of vibe, like they were, again, in remembrance of Violet. And I hope that's not the case. I mean, if it's like way in the future and she like lived a good life, then that would be fine. But I hope that nothing happens. I'm very concerned about where this story is going to go when she finds out that Major Gilbert is dead, because it's very obvious that he is. The show's made no inkling to try to hide it, even though they've not outright said it. It's very fucking clear, and I'm very concerned about the direction the show is going to go. Not that I necessarily think it's going to go that far. I certainly hope for a much happier ending than that. You guys all know what I'm thinking, because there's certainly a direction this could go if it wanted to get really fucking tragic. But given the fact, again, that there's a movie that presumably takes place after the series, or movies or whatever, and I mean, the fact that the OVA seems to take place in this show is kind of concerning a little bit, but I hope for the best, and I'm assuming that things will go well. I'm not actually assuming, I hope, and I feel fairly confident that will come to a more happy resolution, but you never know. And this show is definitely the type of show that could come to a bittersweet or even tragic ending for sure. It definitely has those vibes, but I think thematically there's a lot that we're fighting for, and I feel like it's going to work out. I hope. But it definitely gave off a vibe. This show's definitely caught my attention, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this show goes, because without a doubt, Violet Evergarden, both the character and the series, which I keep having to fucking emphasize because the show's named after the protagonist. Fuck me, I do hate that trope, even if this is such a good fucking name for both a character and a show. I'm very curious to see where it goes, and I can't wait to check it out some more. Although maybe I can. I think this is a show that while I'm very interested to watch, I don't even know if excited is the right word. I don't know if this is the type of show you necessarily get excited over, even though you fucking masochists are excited for me to react to it, knowing full well that this show is going to make me hella fucking emotional, because I'm already emotional in this video, and I've not cried. I've managed to hold it back, and this is a concerted effort, because I know that this shit's only going to get more emotional. And the funny thing is I'm almost crying from a place of, like, beautiful stuff, not even, like, sad stuff. So, maybe it's just my vibe. Sometimes I'm in the mood to cry, sometimes I'm not. Maybe I'm in a crying mood, even though I haven't actually started crying, but I definitely feel the emotion in my eyes. You sick, perverted bastards. Trying to fucking sadists over here trying to play into my masochism. Well, it's working, because this show is pretty cool. We'll see where it goes. Very, very, very interesting. I mean, I expect obviously more of the same. This is kind of a show that you can gauge, I feel like, most of the show from its first few episodes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I don't mind getting a whole lot more of what we got in this first set. So that's definitely not a bad thing at all. Good old water. Nice cold water. And I think that water is signifying the end of the video. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed my reaction, my commentary, whatever. There was definitely a lot in there that was really interesting, and I found these episodes really cool. So, I'm definitely excited for the rest of Violet Evergarden. I believe I should be reacting to the OVA in the next video. So that'll be fun. And the videos, for the most part, will be pretty short for Violet Evergarden. My sets are really small, so we will be taking our time with it. And I'm kind of glad, given the nature of this show. Based on the first 3 episodes, I imagine that I'm going to not have the best time with this show. Obviously, I'm going to love it, but hopefully, well, I'm definitely going to like it. I can tell just from the first 3 episodes I'm at least going to like this show. Whether I love it or not, we'll see, but it's definitely going to hit me. And you guys know how that goes. And I feel like it's been a little while. Like I said, I haven't watched many shows specifically like this, and there's not like, yeah, it's just a show that there's a lot in this show that I'm gonna enjoy, and I like. It's nice to have a show kind of like this, because the stuff we've been doing, the Monogatari is a heavy discussion show. There's so much to break down, so much to talk about, a very intellectual experience. And then it's also like Kuming as well, so there's like a nice mix of that in there. And JoJo's is super fucking fun. I feel like, honestly, JoJo's and Haikyuu are both really fun, kind of in similar ways, which sounds really weird, but they're both really fun. This series is not going to be fun at all, and I feel like I'm a little overdue for a series that's just not fucking fun. Just make me want to fucking kill myself. And yes, I'm saying that jokingly. I hope you guys did know that fact. I feel like I actually have to clarify that, given the nature of this fucking show. Even though, honestly, it's been really beautiful so far and not really that tragic at all. But I'm just reading the tea leaves. It's going to get fucked up. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is your first time watching. I hope I made a good impression. I've reacted to a million fucking anime and cartoons and a little bit of Let's Play stuff too, so check it out. I got playlists for every series I've ever done, so have fun with that. And I assume the vast majority of you are not new, and you know the drill. So, Patreon down below in the description, Discord server down below in the description. Do that stuff. There's other links too that I don't care about. To be completely honest, those are the only 2 that are actually like interesting in any form. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you who have not yet decided, without any further ado, it's time for me to bid you adieu. Flamin' Shark signing out. Hope you guys have a wonderful, fantastical day. And I'll see you next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Peace. Peace.